Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Otto's Garage. Hi, welcome back. So we've done some bits and bobs to the prop shaft, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a quick look at the exhaust that we got. Well, there it is. It's a Group A stainless system. It's got quite a big bore on it, obviously, you can see, just to give you an idea. But I think it's 70 mil, something like that, and that's pretty much straight through. That's the downpipe end there, and obviously you've got the flexi, and then away she goes down the transmission tunnel, and then this piece here is the one that goes up over the back axle. I have got a back box for it. I'll show you that a bit later, but I'm just having a quick look at this because obviously the surface of it is quite well, it's obviously not rusty, but just discoloured, and I've just had the wire wheel over it and it does come up quite nicely. So I think what we'll do is we'll just go over all the tubes and basically try and clean those up a little bit, so it looks a bit nicer, and it's nicer to handle as well, obviously, if we're putting it on the car. Well, you can see the difference there. So that's the original state that it was in, and I've just been over it with the wire brush, and it's coming up very nicely indeed. So I'm just going to keep working away at that, and then hopefully she'll look fairly smart. And there we are. So that's gone over it with a wire brush, and then I've just wiped it off with a bit of thinners. So that's what it should look like. Looks like I've got my work cut out. This is the rear box, so that's the tail pipe there, and again you can see this pitting that we've got on here and discoloration. Not so bad on the actual silencer itself, because of course that doesn't get anything like the heat, but you can see on this end where I've just been over it with the wire wheel, and that just makes a huge difference. And then obviously here as well, this has been polished with a wire wheel. So we'll do the whole thing like that, and that should certainly improve the look of the beast. After a lot of work with the wire wheel, we've finally got ourselves a nice clean system. So that looks quite good, and this is the downpipe basically, so that goes onto the turbo, that end. A couple of bosses there for running O2 sensors, and then you get the flexi, and then back to the main exhaust itself. But she is nice and clean, and now I think that is going to do for it going on the car. I'm not going to turn it into a custom car because it isn't. So we're not going to get it all polished up and chromy. I think it'll be fine just like that. The rear box has come up well as well. It's a bit hard to see it in this, but it's got quite a nice clean shine on that. And then just for good measure, I've put a brushed finished on the tailpipe as well. So there she is in all her glory, and it'll be ready now for going under there somewhere. So that's going to be a bit of a yeah, a bit of fun, I think. But I do need a couple of brackets, so we need one over there. There's one down here, and there's one further up on the system, further into the car. But I want to kind of just get it up in place so we can see exactly how it fits, or how it doesn't fit, actually, when it's mounted onto the underside of the car. Okay, so I've offered the exhaust up there, and you can see that curved tube which goes up over the top of the diff housing there. But of course, and I was always aware of this, the issue that we've got is that this end of the rear box will normally connect up onto that big tube up there. However, somebody's put a boot on the back of this car, and it's slightly longer than a Delta. So although the fixing positions for the rear box are in the correct place, so we've got you know, there's one up here and there's one over on the other side, those two studs hanging down over there, and they correspond nicely with the rear box. But of course what it means is that we need a piece of pipe from here going back so far, which will then connect up to the pipe coming up over the top of the diff. Until I get the fixings, not the fixings, sorry, the mountings, or the exhaust mountings, I can't really hang that, and I can't determine how long that pipe's going to be. So that's really the next thing to do, is get some fixings and get it mounted up on the car. But as you'll see, it's a big old beast. It's going to sound good, isn't it? And that's the rest of the system just kind of laid out, so we can see what form it's going to take under the car there. Obviously the downpipe's just tilted over, so that central section there, I'm guessing they've got that so you can put a mid silencer in that position. And I might have to do that for hill climb, because I'm not convinced that this system is going to be quiet enough. With hill climb you've got to reach a certain amount of decibels, and I think it will probably exceed that. So we may have to get a centre section muffler just stuck in there somehow or other, but we'll see where we are. Back to the engine block. So this was it in its state when it came back from being dipped and ultrasounded and cleaned out basically. So what I'm going to do now is just tackle some of this surface rust here with a view to getting it repainted. So we'll just clean that up and then we can get a bit of paint on it. So I've been over the main side with the wire wheel. This little puppy again. So we've used that in the grinder there for getting into the main body. But of course you can't get into these little you know, divots and pockets in there with that. So what I've done is just got a little wire wheel on a drill. Dead simple. And that's the difference. So basically you get in there and you can clean off all the little rusty bits as you're going in there. It just tidies it up nicely. And you can kind of see that you can get into all the little corners there, and it's just taking the worst of it off really. There's nothing horrendous, but I don't want any loose paint and rust in there for when we're repainting it. Okay, so now we've managed to get all of that rubbish and rot out of there. We're just going to have to give it a quick blowy. So here we go. Cool. Not the kind of blowy you were thinking about, I'll bet. But anyway, that's got that all dusted off, so I can give that a wipe down with a bit of degreaser now, and then we can get about painting it. So sprayed it off with a bit of degreaser, and then we'll just blow that off as well. Well, that just evaporates it all and leaves it nice and clean, ready to receive the paint. Right, so another little tip for you. Basically all the machine surfaces where we've got components and especially gaskets coming into contact with the block, we don't want to get those painted. So what I've done is I've just gone over those, sealed them all up with some masking tape, and I'm now going to just get a knife and run around the edge, and we'll just basically be left with the machine surface, and then we can paint up to that. But that's quite important to do if you don't want to have oil leaks and stuff with paint under gaskets. Right, so now what I've done is I've just masked it off, and then I've just cut round all the areas where these are in effect where the gaskets would be going. So when we paint it, we've got a nice sharp edge there hopefully. On the ends where I've left the tape long here, that's no big deal because we'll just paint up to that edge, because on the other side we don't want the paint going down onto where the bell housing goes and all that. So you don't need to really cut those bits off. You can get in behind here and just go up, paint up to the edge of those. Same on the head there. I've left that one a bit flappy at the top there as well. Cool. Right, okay, we have had another box. So, ladies, gentlemen, and anyone else that isn't quite sure of the sexuality, let's have a look inside the box and see what we have got. So, here it is. And we've got a parcel. Ooh, we like parcels. And we've got another parcel. And we've also got another parcel. Wow. And we've got some foamy bits. We don't need those. Right, just see what we've got. We'll open those up. Well, here it is. So basically we've got a set of core plugs. There's also, I think, a dipstick tube seal there. There's a new sump plug in there as well. Some more core plugs, and also I think they may well go, or a pair of those might go into the back of where the balancer shaft went, because this little beauty here is a balancer shaft delete kit, which has a idler pulley, so that's the idler bearing basically, and then that goes on instead of where the balancer shaft was. But that's a very nice CNC bit of kit. Yeah, so that's all good in the hood without a doubt, and a seal there as well. I don't know, that's obviously part of it too. So that's quite a nice little thing to get rid of the balancer shafts, which we're told we're not really required, and they do drain horsepower, and we like horsepower. So it's nice to see those parts arrive, and I do like that balancer shaft delete kit. That looks like a quality part. Thanks to Paul Cutts down at Delta Works for supplying those to me, and I've also got a couple other parts coming from them as well, so I'll show you those when they arrive. There it is. So it's all painted up. You can see the little bits of masking tape there. We can take those off afterwards when she's all dry. The only thing that I would say you do need to do is when you're painting these blocks like this, because it's such gloopy paint, and you have to put it on reasonably thick, you can get some runs in it. So what I've been doing is just turning it over on the engine stand every so often, and that's kind of stopped it from getting great big sags and runs in there. But we've got to kind of leave that now to dry, and that's going to take a good 24 hours to cure off properly. But after that point, we can then just have a final clean off of some components and start to assemble it. So things like the core plugs with all those holes, they can go in, and then we should start looking like an engine again. Okay, so with that, I'm going to sign off from Otto's Garage. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Next time we'll be hopefully looking at getting some of those parts put on that engine block. Quick shout out to Will Atkins, Rally Navigator, shape of things to come, but just watch this space on that one, I think. Anyway, thanks for watching Otto's Garage. We'll catch you all on the next episode.